Hey, fourth graders, welcome to Poetry Week, where you get a new fourth grade teacher reading a poem to you every single day. Let's get started. We're going to read a little poem called The Climb, and I really like it. We're going to read it, we're going to talk about it. The Climb. Go on, I dare you, my brother's voice mocking, a jaybird's repetitive screech. We are waiting for the bus under our immense oak tree. I reach for the lowest branch and find another to pull myself up before I lose my grip on the slippery bark and slither down the trunk. Again. Today at school, I drop my milk, take a quiz, and argue with my friends. Today is my birthday. When I get off the bus, the oak tree doesn't look any smaller or bigger. Today, I am 10 years old. I reach for the lowest branch and find another to pull myself up. My hands find another and another. Over and over among the red outstretched leaves, foot to branch, push, hand to branch, pull. My brother is rooted on the ground, staring up at me, until finally I can't climb any higher or I will be a cloud. So we have just read The Climb, and I wanted to talk about this poem a little bit as we kind of go through it. And since it's about a tree, I will use my overused phrase before. We're going to focus so far on the low-hanging fruit, which the low-hanging fruit should be the easiest fruit to grab. When we look at this poem, the first thing I like to do is count the stanzas that are there. The stanzas are the little sections of the poem. In this particular one, it looks like each stanza has 4 lines in it. My class always kind of thought of them as paragraphs, sort of the little breaks in the paragraphs. So if we count this one, it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stanzas. But one of the things I really like about this poem is the words that are used. In poems, unlike a story, you have a limited amount of words. So every word that you use, you really have to focus to try to make that word count. And if you've been in my class, you know how much we've done when we're creative writing and like changing the words instead of just saying my car, adding adjectives to the words to help create mental images. So even when we go to just stanza number 2 that says, I reach for the lowest branch and find another to pull myself up before I lose my grip on the slippery bark and slither down the trunk. It helps us, slippery bark, slithering down the trunk. I also really like that last word in stanza 2, again. One word tells us, again, that this kid has tried to climb this tree a whole lot. And the fact that he's going tells us it hasn't really worked. If we go back to stanza 1, I like the way that his brother is daring him. Go on, I dare you, he's saying. And I like that he's comparing that voice to the repetitive nature of a jaybird. The jaybird's repetitive screech. If you listen to birds, they say a lot of the same thing outside of your window. Cheep, 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 cheep. So he's comparing his brother to this bird who is just like, go on, I dare you. You can't do it. And he goes, and sure enough, he can't do it. As we get down to stanza number 5, though, he gets off the bus. Tree looks about the same, no bigger, no smaller. He hasn't really changed too much. But this time when he reaches up, he makes it. And his hands keep finding it. And he keeps finding success. And I like that it keeps going. And he is finding a way. He is grabbing with his foot. And he pushes. And he reaches. And he pulls up. And he gets as high as the clouds. He says he can't go any higher or he will be a cloud. I like that it gets you thinking. Where are clouds? They're up there. How high was he? Well, he was probably pretty high. But in that last stanza too, I want to focus on that word. It says, my brother is rooted on the ground, staring up at me, until finally I can't climb any higher or I will be a cloud. The 4th word in that stanza, rooted, it stands out to me. Trees are rooted into the ground. They're not going anywhere. They're stuck into the ground. And for him to say like his little brother or his brother is rooted into the ground, it plants just that image in your head of like, that's brother, and he is on the ground. He is sitting there. I like this one, and I like the whole successful thing because we go through this a lot in our lives with almost everything we do. He can't climb this tree. He's not big enough. It's slippery. He can't get a good grip. But did really anything change before he was successful? It was just a normal day. He went to school, he spilled his lunch, blah, 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 blah. He argued with his friends, but then he did it. And a lot of things in life are kind of like that. You can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't, all of a sudden you can do it. Riding a bike, walking. I know that those are pretty extravagant, like life-changing things, but it happens with a lot of things. My ukulele, I play, my hands betray me, and then all of a sudden it works. Or drawing. Sometimes it's not this big moment that happens. And sometimes it's with writing or with reading with you guys or different sports. You struggle with something and then something just changes. And it's not always a big thing. I know right now we would be in baseball and softball season. And you're swinging the bat and you're thinking, how am I ever going to hit this ball? And then, like magic, it starts clicking. So it's important for you to believe in yourself, for you to keep trying things, for you to keep trying things that you might not even think that you're good at, because you never know. One moment you're struggling and you can't reach that branch and you can't pull yourself up the tree. And the very next moment you are in the clouds and you are feeling what success feels like. Miss you, fourth graders. Hope you enjoyed this poem, The Climb. Read it again. See if any words really stick out to you guys. Thank you.